The traditional forms of assessment that we have been using in formal education has been very much a competitive model, very much a system in which we rank order our students. We make determinations through grades about their worth, which says there are some people who are better than others, and by virtue of that, then there are some people who are not as good as others. And I think that's a really problematic way to engage with learners. If we actually want them to be seeing assessment as an acknowledgement of what they're able to contribute and how they're able to continue their learning, move forward, and grow as people and in particular areas, then that form of assessment really negates everything we're trying to do. The past few years I've thought about a contract grading approach by which we determine a standard through which everybody has to meet a particular set of criteria. So if people want to be acknowledged through a higher grade, then they complete extension projects which enable them to go deeper into some of the passions they're interested in, some of the work that they'd like to explore further. Has been underpinned for me by a set of Indigenous principles that you put the learning of your peers before your own. And think about the importance of community. The second principle is that we want to leave behind something worthwhile for the next 7 generations to come. And the third principle is that we find our passion so that it fuels and inspires the whole community. And what traditionally happens is as soon as an instructor puts a grade on a student's work, then it changes the relationship from one of facilitator and guide and support to one of evaluator. And that shifts the role in a very important power situation so that the student then sort of loses some kind of trust. Contract grading actually enables a different kind of relationship to form between the instructor and the student, which is one of more relationality and trust and connection, so that the instructor can actually learn from the students as well. It's not a one-way, top-down kind of situation. One of the things that I've noticed is that it creates a much more collegial relationship between me and my students, in that we can actually talk about ideas and they're not as concerned about whether I assess them fairly or not. So they're a part of the whole assessment conversation, and they're not being done to, but we're doing it together. We're moving forward together and learning together. There are always students who don't value this kind of system. They actually want to be in a ranked system. This is very different from what they have known as students in the past. And so there are some tensions in people who want to be recognized as good students, as better students than others. But overall, what it has enabled, I think, more than anything else, is the students themselves to form a really powerful, strong community of supporters and learners together. And they're not competing, and they're not saying anymore, what is it that you want? They're trying, they're taking risks, they're experimenting and exploring and doing things that maybe or maybe not be the things that I would have acknowledged, but are very surprisingly beneficial to the community.